Are solely those of Investor Schooling or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is Investor Schooling Live with your host, Larry Steinhouse, CEO of Investor Schooling.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. Investor Schooling Live is transmitting from the Investor Schooling Studios here in the Investor Schooling headquarters. I'm Larry Steinhouse. I am the CEO of Investor Schooling. I want to thank you for listening in and get ready to learn real estate investing, stock options trading, and so many more things about money that I bet you didn't even know. Hey, you can call us anytime during the show with your questions at 855-939-1137. Write this number down. 855-939-1137. Did you get your pen yet? 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. Put it in your phone. 855-939-1137. That's right. We're a live program, and we're live on Saturday right now. We're live on November 19th. We're live today. And you can call anytime during the show. We will take your calls. Hey, don't worry about the topic. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about that has to do with money, finances, or even politics. Hey, we're also live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you can also leave comments there as well. And if you're watching online, please say hi. It's the only way I know you're watching is when you make a comment. At Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing, stock options trading, how to save money in taxes, how to be financially free, and we even give you the motivation to make money work for you instead of you working for money. Investor Schooling is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right off the Newtown Bypass, serving the New Jersey and Greater Philadelphia areas in a real brick-and-mortar building. Our students are also located in several states with our exclusive web access to classes and seminars. Get ready to learn something new. Get ready to learn the business of entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and stock option trading from your friendly neighborhood financial expert. Hey, that's me, Larry Steinhouse. Hey, a couple of people online already saying hi. That's awesome. We got Peter saying hi, and we got Mike saying hi. Thanks so much. I totally appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. All right. So I'm going to tell you right now. Hey, Glenn, are you there?
I am here, sir.
So I was telling Glenn before we started the show. So Glenn, if you guys don't know, we have a couple of producers. We have Glenn, who is at WPHT, and he runs the board up over there. And of course, we have Mike Kuiper over here. He's running the cameras, and he runs the audio out of here that transmits to WPHT. And if you've ever seen my studio, it's actually a gorgeous studio. And if you guys want to learn more about that, we'd be more than happy to do that and show it to you and give you a tour of the studio. However, Glenn, what did I say to you when I started this show? Before I started the show?
Oh, you said a lot of things.
I said I was not in the mood to do the show today.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just not in the mood to do the show today. So I'm telling everybody right now that I'm not in the mood to do the show today. So if you just turned off your radio, too bad. But if you want to get me in the mood, call me. Call me with a question about money. Call me with a question about real estate. Call me with a question about the economy, stock options, anything, just to get me motivated to do the show. I'm going to give you the phone number, 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. One more time. 855-939-1137. I think I missed one. All right, you guys got your phone out? Let's go. 855-939-1137. Somebody call me. Robin's saying hi.
What are we talking about?
What
are we talking about today, Larry? I mean, just in general.
I don't care. It has to do with money. We're talking about it.
Money, real estate, stock options.
Finances. You want to know how the economy is going to go? I could tell you. I could give you my exact prediction of the economy, but I'm just not going to give it to you unless you call me up and ask me for it, because I just don't feel like being here. So if I don't feel like being here, you're gonna have to work for the information. You know, I got this hour; it's mine. But you know what? You guys are gonna have to work to get this information out of me. You're gonna have to call me and ask me a question. I'll even tell you what. If you call me and ask me a question before, I don't know, let's say before 10 after 2, which is 3 minutes from now, I will even send you a copy of my book, because that's how much I don't want to be here. I'm going to give you a free copy of my book with nothing more than to call me up and ask me one question that has to do with money, finances, or anything that has to do with the economy or real estate or stock options. And then phone number one more time, 855-939-1137. And for guys who don't know, I wrote this book. It's called Money Hacks. And the book is called Money Hacks and it's also, at the subtitle is called Because Everything You Think You Know About Money Is Wrong. Because I guarantee you that everything you think you know about money is Wrong. In the book, I actually talk about how to buy properties without using any of your own money. Building credit scores over 100, even over 700, even if you have a terrible credit. Secure used lines of credit and build their net worth. Using LLCs and trusts to save massive amounts in taxes and protect your properties. And of course, leveraging IRAs and other retirement accounts for huge profits. This book is $20. So for $20, buy the book. It's called Money Hacks. Go to Amazon.com, look up Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse, and you could buy the book. And the whole point of this, me showing the book right now, was that if you call me right now, and you ask me a question about money, I will send you this book. I have to tell you that I'm looking at the picture of myself online. That is a really unflattering picture. I look really, really fat in that picture, Mike. Don't ever show that camera again.
Blow that camera up.
Yeah, no way. Oh, and Linda, my wife, is online, and she said he'd rather be home with me. Yes, I'd rather be home with my wife. So that goes to show you how badly I don't want to be here. Oh, that didn't sound right, did it?
No, that didn't sound good. Linda's very nice. I listened to the show
I know, isn't she great on the show?
Yeah, she was all self-conscious about her voice. Her voice sounds fine.
I know, her voice sounded really
much
good.
Much better
actually.
than yours.
Yeah, she actually, and I'll tell you something. When Linda was on the show that day, she sounded, not only did she sound great, but she sounded really confident. It's funny because Linda is typically a shy person. I was actually afraid to bring her on the radio because I wasn't sure if she was actually going to have a conversation or if she was going to get nervous. But not only was she not nervous, she actually did really, really well. It was great. So thanks, Linda. You did a great job. And if you want to call in and say hi, you can call in too. Give me something to talk about. 855-939-1137. You got one more minute. One more minute. By the way, she says, thank you, Glenn. I know you can't see it, but I can. She says, thank you, Glenn. So there you go. All right, 855-939-1137. You got one more minute before I'm going to give you, and I'll give you the book if you call in right now. 855-939-1137. Call in right now. Get the book. Oh, man. And if you don't, I'm going to wait till 10 after. If nobody calls, I got something I want to talk about, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want somebody to call and ask me a question. Can we play? Do you have any music to play?
Jeopardy music?
Yeah, Jeopardy music. Yeah.
I'd have to find it.
Oh,
is it? Find it.
It's a fine?
Yeah,
you know how to do it?
No, all right. Well, gotta look for it. Hang on.
Hold on. Okay. I just figured everybody played that music. Everybody has the rights to that music by now.
No, it's not public domain. If that's what you.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. I'm stalling because I'm going to give somebody up.
Here come the calls.
All right, there you go. Let's go. Bring him in, man. Bring him in. And say hello to Glenn while you're on the phone because Glenn is cool. All right, guys. While we wait for Glenn to connect this call, I got to tell you something. I had an interesting Facebook conversation with a couple of people the other day, and I'm going to tell you all about that. I think Glenn's got the call coming in, so I'm going to wait. But I'm going to tell you all about that.
Yep, you've got Frank on the line.
I got Frank. Hey, what's going on, Frank? Tell me what's going on.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I tend to, I'm a very low-level investor, and when I don't understand something, I tend to stay away from it.
Okay.
But I'm interested in hearing a explanation about the Bitcoin market and what went on with FTX this week. So if you could put that in terms that a low-level investor can understand, I'd appreciate hearing it.
So, all right. So, have you listened to the show before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So I am not a fan of Bitcoin at all. I've never been a fan of Bitcoin. I happen to make a couple of grand on Bitcoin just for fun, but I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin. But let me see if I could explain to you what Bitcoin really is and what it was supposed to be, and maybe that will make more sense. So basically, there's each country or each let's call it country. Let's make it easy. Each country has a centralized currency. Here in America, we have the dollar. That makes sense, right? And we have a value on that dollar, and you know what that value is because you could buy a certain amount of goods with that dollar, correct? You get that? Maybe you can buy...
I'm with you.
Yeah, maybe you could buy my book for $20, and that's the value of... And for $20, actually, you get it for free, but but the value of that dollar will buy you, if you have 20 of them, it will buy you my book. Okay, so that's the value of the dollar. But the problem is it's centralized.
Gotcha.
It's inside the United States. So now if I wanted to go outside the United States, I have to convert that dollar into something else. If it's Japanese, maybe it's the yen or the Russia, go to ruble, right? So I have to convert that money somewhere else into something else. So that's a hassle, but it's not a terrible thing. Now, the other problem is with the dollar or any other what's called a fiat currency, and a fiat currency is a currency that's used in the United States or other countries. So the dollar is considered a fiat country, a fiat currency. The ruble is considered a fiat currency, etc. And that problem with that is the only people who know who can hold it are, let's say, banks or other financial institutions, and that information, although it's somewhat private, is also public. So anybody can ask for that information and get it. So a government official can ask for the information, the police can ask for the information, and now your holdings become public. So the other thing, so those are two problems. One is people wanted to have their finances private, and the other one was they wanted to be able to use currency across the world without having to convert it to another currency. So along comes Bitcoin, and Bitcoin becomes the first currency to do this. Now, it's true you had to convert your dollar into Bitcoin, but once you converted your dollar into Bitcoin, Bitcoin was supposed to be able to buy products across the world. So maybe it was, and Bitcoin right now is at 16,000 something, but when it first came out, it was a very small number. And let's say Bitcoin compared to the dollar, let's say it was $20, just to use an example. So you would take one Bitcoin and you would buy my book for Bitcoin, and that would be how you would spend the money, but you would be able to do that across the world. Anybody across the world would have the same value. Do you remember when, what was it, the euro came out and they tried to put all the same currency in the European nations? Remember that?
So Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You're okay. You're getting a little bit of echo, but that's fine. So that's what it was like. Now, Bitcoin, what happened with Bitcoin is people were saying, okay, well, we have this thing, but we can't really buy anything with it yet because nothing's really available to buy with Bitcoin. My book, you can't buy it with Bitcoin because it doesn't say how much Bitcoin it would cost to buy the book. So then what would happen is someone would say, okay, well, let's start making things available in Bitcoin. And it started to happen. Somebody bought, way back when, somebody bought their first pizza with a Bitcoin. I mean, if the guy still has that, he did very, very well because he bought a pizza with one Bitcoin, and then the Bitcoin went up to almost $68,000. Even today, it's $16,000. That was a very expensive pizza. So people started to buy it. Now, of course, what happens is, hey, that's a great idea. Bitcoin's a great idea. Let's come up with another one. So then Ethereum comes out, and another one 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 comes out. Now, there's some other technical pieces in there too, but they all start to come out. Now, there's one other thing about Bitcoin, and if you go back to the story, the people who move the Bitcoin money. So if I send you, let's say I send you 10 Bitcoin, and I send it to you, instead of sending it to your name, I send it to what's called a Bitcoin wallet. And that Bitcoin wallet would be where you store and hold the Bitcoin, right? And now you can store and hold that Bitcoin. Okay. But my transaction from my 10 Bitcoin to your 10 Bitcoin is private. No one can ever find out that I sent it or sent it to you and that you have it. That was one of the coolest things about these type of transactions. They're decentralized, and no one can actually track it. No one can actually find out. Until you convert it to dollars, nobody can actually find out. Did you have a question?
You're saying that there's no way that's traceable.
Right. It's exactly. It's untraceable, and that's what made Bitcoin very attractive. Now, of course, now you have these people, and there's people who have what's called computer nodes, and they track it, and they don't track it, but they actually confirm the transaction. So when I send it to you, how do you know you got it? How do you know it came? How do you know that you have it? And how do you know that it's real, that I really had it to really give it to you? So there's Bitcoin miners, and these Bitcoin miners actually record the transaction. There's a whole procedure to do that. But just so you know, these people who own mines have Bitcoin mines, and those are called nodes. And you could be a Bitcoin miner. You could just buy one of these fancy computers, and it can mine the Bitcoin for you. So your computer becomes the place where that proof of that transaction is. Not the transaction, but proof of the transaction, which is kind of interesting. So now when you get that Bitcoin, you're going to have several people proving that this was a real transaction. That's called a blockchain. By the way, blockchain technology, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, and I'm not going to get into that side of it. But it's absolutely brilliant. However, these people who own these computers want to get paid. So they get a portion of the Bitcoin, and they get paid for mining the Bitcoin. That's why it's called Bitcoin mining. So they get a small portion of the Bitcoin, and they get to keep it on their computer, on their wallet. And as time starts to go by, if they start to do a lot of these transactions, they start collecting Bitcoin and making money. So that's why Bitcoin miners make so much money. One of the problems with Bitcoin miners, just on a side note, is the fact that it costs a lot of electricity to mine Bitcoin because the computer power is so intense and so energy inefficient that it costs a lot of money to mine Bitcoin. The computers are 13, 14, 15, 20 grand, but the energy is unbelievable. Some people actually say sometimes when Bitcoin is really low in price, like it is now, because remember, you get a percentage, that the electricity cost is more than you're going to actually mine the Bitcoin for, so a lot of people drop off mining. All right, so let's go back to all of these other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Solana and Dogecoin and all these. All of a sudden, there are 1,700, I think it's 1,700, 1,800 different cryptocurrencies. So believe it or not, there's, I believe, and I got to remember the exact number, I think it's 166 fiat currencies. So if there's 166 fiat currencies and now there's 1,700 cryptocurrencies, remember the whole concept was to replace fiat currency. You're not going to replace fiat currency with 166 fiat currencies with 1,900 cryptocurrencies. So basically, greed destroyed it. Greed has absolutely destroyed cryptocurrency. And the reality is, and how old are you?
80 years old.
Okay, so would you know how to buy something with Bitcoin?
Not really, because I've never, as I say, I tend to stay away from things I don't totally understand.
Sure. So do I sound pretty knowledgeable? Do I sound pretty knowledgeable about Bitcoin?
Well, I think you know all the buzzwords, and I tend to believe that you're talking about. I might have one basic question.
Sure.
How do I convert my Bitcoin into dollars?
Okay. Do you have Bitcoin now?
If I had Bitcoin.
Oh, you don't. Okay, so you
No,
actually have to. You actually have to sell the Bitcoin to someone else who will give you the dollars. It's bizarre. So that was part of why the price kept going up, because if you sold it to me for, I don't know, whatever, let's say you sold me one Bitcoin for $20,000, well, I want to sell that Bitcoin for more than $20,000, right? So I might put it out there for $20,500 to make $500 on that $20,000, and then somebody bought it at $20,500, and then somebody bought it at $21,000, and somebody bought it at $22,000 and $23,000, all the way up to $68,000, and it was basically the absolute best way to describe it is a Ponzi scheme, because it goes to whoever will pay the most for it, and then when they stop paying for it, then all of a sudden the price keeps coming down and down and down and down and down and down and down. So that's what the massive problem was, and that's why Bitcoin went up the way it did, and it had no right to go up that high. It actually makes no sense, but it did. And then on top of that, now it's coming down because people are starting to get a dose of reality, and the dose of reality is the fact that they can't use it, they can't do anything with it, and if they buy it for $20,000, they ain't selling it for $20,500. They may be selling it for $19,000. So everybody's getting rid of it as fast as they can. So if that way they don't get stuck, they don't get stuck in it, and it's basically worthless. It's worthless unless somebody wants to pay for it. So right now, like I said, I think it's worth $16,500 or something like that. That's what the last person was willing to pay for it. If the next person is willing to pay more,
so for all intent,
I'm sorry.
Okay. For all intent and purposes, what they did is they kept on trading the price and pushing it up and up.
Yep.
And someone got old at some point, got a bunch of money out of it, but it's all smoke and mirrors in the final analysis.
Absolutely.
They're never going to be able to reclaim their investment, and they had to at some point in time, I assume, spend dollars or whatever their currency would be to get the Bitcoin.
That's exactly right.
So they're not able to make the reverse conversion.
Yeah, so now what's happening is people who bought it at $68,000 are hoping it's going to go back there. I can't imagine ever going back there. In fact, I have predicted Bitcoin to go to $12,000 next, and then $7,000 would be the next bottom line, and when it hits 7,000, it's either going to go back to 12,000 or it's going to go really, really close to zero. So I would watch this really carefully. But I hope I answered your question. And by the way, stay on the line. I have a bunch of people, by the way, a bunch of calls lined up. But stay on the
Could I have one
line.
more question?
I'm sorry?
Could I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
If you feel that it's going to drop to 12 and then to 7, why wouldn't you just have a short sale of it?
So that's a really good question. I don't know how to short sell crypto. I really wish I did, because I would have short sold it at 68. It happens to be one thing I just don't know how to do. And if it can be done, I haven't seen anybody do it. I don't know anybody who does it, so I don't know how to do it. But yeah, I would have made a fortune on it.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time.
You got it, man. Hey, wait, stay on the line, because Glenn's going to grab your home address so we can send you a copy of the book.
Okay, I'm still confused, but I'm less confused. Thank you.
Oh,
for
don't
your
even
time.
worry about it. Let me tell you something. You don't need to know about it. It means nothing. Forget it. It's worthless. Everybody's going to yell at me for that one. Watch. They're all going to come online. They're already doing it. They're online. They're already starting to say things. Oh, come on, crypto's great, but it happens all the time. All right, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if Anthony's still online. Anthony, you still there?
Anthony's still here.
What's going on?
What's going on, brother?
Tell me the story. Tell me your money question, or ask me your money question.
The money question. I called a long time ago, a while ago, and asked you if you have any knowledge, or if you're working on getting into tax sales, tax liens.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that you weren't quite there yet. Have you done anything with that?
We actually have an expert in tax liens and tax deeds who works for the school now. So if you came to the school, she would be able to guide you through tax liens and tax deeds like it's nothing else. It's amazing. So we brought her on because she has that knowledge, also because she's a great addition to the school for so many other ways. Her name is Debbie. So if you want to stop by the school one day and talk to her privately, you certainly can. She's amazing. We've actually had her on the air a couple of times. I don't know if you had listened, but we had her on the air a couple of times, and she is fantastic.
Oh, awesome. Let me ask you a question. Do you use a CRM for business?
Yeah, so that's actually a very serious topic for me.
So, I know. That's why I'm asking you, because I'm chapped myself.
So it's funny. So I have a couple of CRMs right now, and they're awful. They're not only awful, but they're also very complicated. And Salesforce happens to be one of the most complicated ones. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that, but they happen to be one of the most complicated ones. Now, it's funny because for anyone who knows what I'm talking about, a CRM, by the way, is a contact relationship management program. And basically, if I would put Anthony's name in it, it would remind me to call him, or I would send him an email, or I would send him a letter, or whatever it may do. But the simplest CRM I ever had was the very first CRM ever created for a computer, which was called ACT, and it was version 1.0. Ever since then, it got worse. It came out 25 years ago. It came out 25 years ago, and it was fantastic.
They were the best.
Yeah, Goldmine was not as good as ACT, but it was still good, right? And now all of a sudden they have all these CRMs that are ridiculous. It's absolutely just ridiculous. So I actually working on. I actually discussed this with somebody today. I have an architect working on a CRM that I want to build. That's simple, and it's simple for real estate investors.
I'm kind of doing the same thing.
Cool.
I got a programmer that's building an open source. He's got an open source module that I picked out, and we're just customizing it.
All right. You want to share, or you want to share the open source?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it?
It's all about sharing.
Yeah, sure.
Udo.
I have no idea.
And we're going to customize that.
Cool.
Yeah. OODO.
Okay.
Udo.
Yeah. If anybody else here wants to try that, they can go right ahead and try it. I've got a couple that I'm working on.
Yeah,
I have some sophisticated ones that I'm working with because they run my entire business actually. But I'm also looking to simplify ones for the students because they're always asking me the same question: what CRM? And I actually have the most simplest CRM. It's not a computerized one. And if you ever want to come in, I could teach you that too. When are you going to stop by the school?
I'll make a point. I'll make a point to come over and say hi.
Well, this Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving. So next Thursday, if you want to stop by, feel free to. You know how to do that,
Sounds
right? Go to
good.
investorschooling.com.
Okay, I hear it quite often.
Cool. So Anthony, I'm gonna go to next caller, but I'll tell you what, stay on the line because Glenn's gonna get your number and we're gonna send you a book, and I appreciate you calling. I really do.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome. Hey,
Thank you.
You got it, man. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Are you still there?
I am. How you doing, Larry?
Cool, man. You sound like you're in.
I'm
You sound like you're in
54
a
years
party.
old. Yeah, I'm leaving the party right now. I was going to grab something to eat, but I'm going to head back outside.
What is your
So
What is
I'm
your money
54 years
question?
old, and I have a good 401k going
Okay.
through my employer. But in the course of the last couple of years, I bought 2 duplexes,
Great.
and they seem to have a better return.
Okay.
So I was thinking about emptying the 401ks out and just buying real estate.
Okay.
I was wondering what your thoughts are on something like that.
Okay. A couple of things with that. Number one, the first thing is, are you still employed at the company that has your 401k?
Yeah, I'm going to take the 10% hit if I did something like that, unless I did
Are
a
you still
self-directed
employed there?
IRA.
Hold on. Are you still employed there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still employed there. So now you
Yeah.
can't. It's not. You can't convert it to an IRA because you're still employed there. So you can borrow the money, which might not be a bad idea. You can actually borrow it from yourself.
Yeah, I did that to buy the second one.
Okay.
And I wound up taking, I took $100,000 out under the CARES Act
Oh, that's great.
because I was unsure of myself at the time, and I didn't want to have that $1,000 a month payment hanging over my head. I just wasn't comfortable with that. But now I am because I understand that rents always go up, but the stock market doesn't.
Yeah, it's actually true.
So,
Or they go down for a very short time, right?
yeah. I mean, you're going to take a little bit of a hit here and there, but overall, they're making more people, and that's good for people that have places
I think
to
that's
rent.
never going to stop.
So I was wondering. No, they're not making. My uncle always told me that they're not making any more land unless you live in Hawaii, but they are making more people every day. So you're better off owning
Sure. Okay, so
property.
So now you have money in the 401k. You bought your other 2 properties, and you bought them traditionally. You put 20% down, and you got a mortgage, correct?
I do. Yes.
So here's a question for you: if you had $1 million in the bank right now, how many properties can you buy?
Well, that's all. If I'm buying them outright, if I'm putting, where they're located, so that's sort of. I guess we would have to drill down to it.
Give me an
Another
average
question.
price that you would pay for a property, and how many can you buy with $1 million?
Let's just say 5.
Okay, so you could buy 5 properties, and you'd have nothing left in your account, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
when you buy properties the way I teach you how to buy properties, you could buy 100 properties with that $1 million, and by the way, still have the $1 million in the bank.
Okay.
That's
Other people's money. Is that what we're
other
talking
people's
about?
money. Yeah, you don't need to drain your 401k and pay a 10% penalty. You could actually go out and learn how to
Okay.
buy properties with no money. I mean, I'm going to tell the story in a couple of minutes. I'm going to tell a story about a property I just bought that not only did I buy it with no money, but I also got a check for $13,788 at closing. So I actually bought a
Okay.
property with no money, absolutely no money in my pocket, and I got a check for almost $14,000 that I put in my own pocket after closing. I went to closing with no money. I bought the property. I left closing with almost $14,000.
Okay.
Is that something you want to learn?
Sounds good so far.
Is that something you
Yeah.
want to learn? All right. How could you learn that? You tell me.
Absolutely. Well, I guess just like everything else, I think all the books that I've read over time and the people that I've talked to, I think one of the major hurdles for a lot of people is that when they read a book or they listen to somebody like you, they think it can't be that simple.
That's right.
And the reality of it is that in most cases, it's that simple.
There's 2 kind of skeptics in the world. There's the
and after
skeptic- There's the skeptic that doesn't believe
You
I can
broke up.
do it.
There's two.
And then when I teach you, there's the skeptic that doesn't believe they can do it after I teach you. So do you believe, first of all, that I can do it?
Exactly. Well, yeah, if you said you can, because I didn't believe that I would be making what I'm making off of two small duplexes, but
Right.
I laugh every year, like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
Now, are you
So,
coachable, and can you
Why
learn?
not keep repeating? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think as long as I have a degree in accounting, which is done me fine. I don't work in the accounting profession, but I like it to be as absolutely simple as possible, because when people concepts in there, I think they're just trying to fluff it up and make it something that it's not.
All right, I'll tell you what
Like
you're going to do.
I listened to your whole. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what you do. You're going to go to investorschooling.com, and you're going to sign up for a class. You're going to come on Thursday,
Alrighty.
and we're going to meet, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. All right? It's also
All right, fair enough.
because you called on time, you're also going to get a copy of my book Money Hacks, which also teaches how to do it. There's also there's a 50-foot overview of everything we teach at Investor Schooling in that book. So Glenn's going to take your address, your name and your address, and we're going to send you that book. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a commercial. But before we take a commercial, I just want to let everybody know that they can still call in with their questions at 855-939-1137, 855-939-1137. And I'll ask you any question about money, 855-939-1137. One more time, 855-939-1137. Glenn, roll those commercials. This is Larry Steinhouse with Investor School.
All right, you're clear. Let me get this guy's info.
Thanks, bud. Want to apply to those who own real assets. At Investor Schooling, we teach you how to own real assets like real estate, gold, silver, and other investments, including stocks, stock options, and even the basics of cryptocurrency. We even teach you how to pay thousands less in taxes legally. So go to investorschooling.com and find out how you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday. investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhouse, and you have probably heard my radio shows and listened to my great advice on how you can make more money and pay less taxes. Well, I just finished writing a book on all things I teach at Investor Schooling and on my radio shows. This book is called Money Hacks, and you want a copy of this book, and you can pre-order this book wherever books are sold. Look for Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse. Hey, it might even be a tax deduction. Order Money Hacks by Larry Steinhouse wherever books are sold, and come see me at Investor Schooling. This is Larry Steinhouse from Investor Schooling. Are you tired of being broke? If you're tired of being broke, go to investorschooling.com, sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday, and learn how not to be broke. That's right. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday. And if you have any questions, you can call us at 215- everybody. This is Larry Steinhouse, and this is Investor Schooling Live. Welcome back to the show. I'm having a good time with the callers, and thank you guys for calling, because I told you I didn't want to do the show today, but you guys called me, and I had a really great conversation about Bitcoin. That was awesome. Talked a little bit about somebody's 401k and how they can invest that money if they wanted to, and how they could buy properties with absolutely no money. And what did I promise? I promised that I would talk about how I bought a property this week with absolutely no money, and how I actually got a check at closing. So I actually bought it. It's actually a commercial property, which is really, really neat. It's a warehouse, and I have a couple of cars. You guys know I actually have a few cars, and you guys, if you guys are long-term listeners, you know that I'm into weird cars. Like I got an MG, I've got an MGB, I've got an old Thunderbird, I have a Shelby GT Mustang, so stuff like that I have, right? So I wanted a place to put them because I only have a 2-car garage in my house, and unfortunately I can't put all these cars in there. And then I've also got my other cars, and I got other things as well. So it's kind of rough that sometimes, I don't have a place to put my cars. So I bought this warehouse, and the warehouse had a front, and it was rented out to a builder, and he owns, I'm sure he doesn't own it, but he rents half the warehouse space from me, and the front of it also is his offices. So it was somebody I've known for a while who's owned this building, and he basically, just to give you a rough idea, he sold it to me for $400,000, and we agreed at the price of $400,000, and whatever, it's probably worth a little bit more, but that's not the whole point. The whole point was that he's selling me the property for $400,000. So now, of course, I can go to a bank, and if I go to a bank, and I give them 2 years tax returns and 400 different pieces of documents, and have them ask me for another document, and have them, run my credit score and blah, 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 and do all this garbage that banks do, especially a commercial lender. They would lend me probably a maximum of 75% of the money I needed. So the maximum they would have lent me was $300,000 on this $400,000 property. So then, if you, like Mike, and he was talking about his 401k, I would have had to go to my 401k now. I wouldn't go to my 401k, but I would have had to go to, if it was Mike, I would have had to go to my 401k, borrow $100,000 or more, because there's closing costs, and the closing costs would probably be about $15,000, and they were a little over $15,000, and I would have to borrow that money. Actually, it was a little less than $15,000, but that's fine. I'd have to borrow that money, the $100,000, then I have to borrow another $300,000 from the bank, and my rate from the bank would probably be 7 or 8% anyway, especially because of interest rates right now, the fact that it's commercial property. But I would have had to take $100,000 or about $113,000 out of my bank account and buy this property. Yeah, it's a great property, and yes, I will make money on it. But why would I want to take $100,000 of my money and put it into this property when, hey, that money could be used somewhere else? So I decided to go to a private lender. And if you guys know, we've been talking about this for 4 or 5 years now, how to use private lenders instead of banks. So basically, OPM, other people's money. A long time ago, I used to watch, when I was a teenager, I used to watch TV shows, the late night TV shows, advertising these courses. And I find it funny that, now I actually facilitate one. But they were watching these advertisements for these courses that said, hey, you can use other people's money. And I said, there's no way anybody would lend somebody money for a real estate deal. Well, it turns out that not only would people lend money for a real estate deal, but they're banging the door down to lend you money for a real estate deal. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars at any one time, probably millions of dollars at any one time, that I could borrow from several lenders. All I have to do is find a property. For real, all I have to do is find a property. But I only want to find properties that are good ones, so it takes me a little bit longer. So I'm buying this property, and I decided to go to somebody. And actually, I went to the seller, and the seller decided he was going to finance half of it for me because it's a better tax advantage for him. If he takes the whole $400,000, he has to pay taxes on the whole $400,000 because he's already written the whole property off because he's owned the property way too long. He's taken all the depreciation. He owes nothing on it, so he would have had to pay taxes on the $400,000. He decides to hold back $200,000, which is awesome. So I'm making payments to him, and now I have to come up with the other $200 and around $13,000 to close on it. $16,000, whatever it was. Something like $13,000. I have to come up with $213,000 to close on it. So I go to a private lender who I've done business with before, and I say, hey, I need to borrow $225,000. And she looks over the property. She says, hey, it's a good property. I like it. I think I'm okay with it. She looks over the lease, and she says, yeah, I see you're going to be making money on it, and everything is great. And she lends me $225,000. So now I've got the seller holding back $200,000. I come to closing with not my money, but somebody else's money of $225,000, and I get a check back for around almost $14,000. That's how I did it. It's so simple that it's hard. That's what most people don't get it. They don't realize that you can actually do that. And then, of course, there's at least one person in their car right now shaking their head going, how do you find people like that? How do you find people with money? Well, the answer is really, really simple. You ask people you know. You have no idea how many people out there have money that are making 1%, 2%, maybe 3% in CD, and they would make so much more money if they came to you. Maybe you can offer them 8%. Why wouldn't you offer them 8%? Maybe you offer them 9%. Why wouldn't you offer them 9%? You're going to get the property as long as it cash flows. That's fine. And they're going to get more money than they would if it was in their 401k or their IRA or their CD. And once you make them understand that you can make more money, they can make more money by borrowing from you. I'm sorry, by lending to you than they can from the bank. That's what they're going to do. And once you do one deal, I've had lenders who actually I do deals with, and then I sell the property or I refinance the property or something happens and I decide that, I pay them back, or sometimes I just pay people back. They call me up and they go, hey, I got this money you paid me back. Can you please borrow it again? I want to make the same money I was making on this money when you borrowed it. So if you have questions on how to do this, 855-939-1137. Call me now. Ask me anything about money. 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. Ask me any question about money, any question about private lenders, any question about real estate, any questions about the economy. I don't care. I'll be able to talk to you about it. It'll be a lot of fun. 855-939-1137. So Mike on Facebook had a really good question. He said, what if they default on a property? Mike's too shy to call in. So he said, what if they default on a property? And I guarantee you that's exactly what some of you guys are thinking. Hey, I have $500,000 to lend Larry, but what if he doesn't pay for the property? What if he doesn't pay me back? All right, so there's a couple of things. First of all, you're going to get what's called a mortgage and a promissory note. So a mortgage, for you guys who don't know, is basically gives you permission to foreclose on a property. Now, I could already see the guys shaking their head going, oh, yeah, but foreclosure takes too long. It takes forever to foreclose on a property. I heard a friend of mine, he stayed in the property for 7 years because it took that long before the bank got him out. Well, that's not how it works with private lending. With private lending, and we teach you this, you sign as the borrower, you sign a confession of judgment to the lender, which basically says if you miss 3 payments, they get the property. Now, that's really cool because if they get the property, most cases, especially the way I look for properties, in most cases, their property is worth more than what they lent me, and I have no recourse. And in fact, my confession of judgment that I teach you guys how to use, because if you're a borrower, you want to make the person lending the money completely comfortable. So I make them very comfortable with this confession of judgment. And my confession of judgment says that if I fight if I hire an attorney and say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give them the property, right in the confession of judgment, it says that I have to pay for my attorney's fees and I have to pay for their attorney fees and all costs that it takes to get the property to them. So the really cool part about that is they know that I'm not going to fight them. If I made the property payments for 3 months, why would I fight them? I can only lose. First of all, the confession of judgment says that you lost already, but if I decide to fight it, I now lost more money. So to me, I would sooner say to the person, look, you know what, I'm having a financial problem. I apologize. This is what happened. Let me give you the property now so you don't even have to fight me for it. Let me just give it to you right now. I'll sign it over to you right now. I'm really, really sorry. All right, real quick, we got Christian on the phone. What's going on, Christian?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad to hear it. So, I've been a rehab flipper, soon to hopefully be a hold and residual guy, but
sure.
got to do some more flipping. What I've had in the past, and I'd like to get in the future, and I'll start calling these folks, is people who do a loan in relationship to after rehab appraised value.
Okay.
So construction and acquisition. Is that hard to find nowadays?
So you're talking about someone to lend you money to acquire the property and renovate it?
On a percentage basis. So let's say the outgoing sales price is $450,000.
Okay.
Well, let's just say $400 for easy money.
Sure.
That they'll loan you $300 to buy it and fix it and be in first position.
Okay.
Is that are you a hold guy for the most part, or are you a flipper too?
I almost never flip because my concept is building an income that increases every month. But that's okay because I obviously know how to do it. I've obviously done it.
I want to be you when I grow up, man.
All right, so you know what the only thing stopping you from being me when you grow up? It's in your head. Why are you flipping properties? Why don't you buy them and hold them?
Well, I guess the finance, but you're telling me it's the same type of trying to find finance. But is part of your formula, the matrix that you have to get the owner to hold. I mean, to have someone be in first position for the whole nut, that doesn't seem likely.
Oh, you want to know why it doesn't? You want to know why it won't happen for you?
Because my head?
Because you just said it doesn't seem likely. I promise you that the methods I teach, anything from taking over mortgages to owner financing to going to private lenders, every single one of them is not only doable, but easier than you think it is. And the only reason you can't do it is because, number one, you don't know how to do it, which is not that hard. And number two, you don't believe it can be done. Once you believe it can be done, it becomes so easy. It's almost like, I really do. I apologize to people because I can't take their money. It's funny. It's like, I was speaking to somebody today. They had about $150,000. Like, hey, can I lend you $150,000? I said, at the moment, I don't have a property to buy, but I'll get back to you if I do. Oh, come on, Larry, please borrow my money. Could you imagine that? That's
for first position for the full nut.
That could be a first position. It could be a second position. It really doesn't matter. But the concept is that it's, if I wanted to go buy a $100,000 property and I needed $25,000 to rehab it, he would lend me $150,000 on it. You like that?
Yeah, I haven't been, it's not my first rodeo. I haven't been able to find the, loan to value of 100%.
100%. I just borrowed 105% or 110%, 112%, whatever it was. I borrowed 112% to buy that warehouse.
No, I'm with you. I understand that the owner held back because he ran out all his tax advantages.
No. I explained those. Wait, hold on a second. Just to be sure, I explained those tax advantages to him, and he goes, oh, yeah, this is a really good idea. Now that you explain it to me, it's a really good idea for me not to take the whole $400,000 today. Because if you learn these techniques, you can use them to make things like this happen. If you said to the guy, hey, can you hold back a mortgage? Instantly he's going to say no. They always say no until you give them a reason why they should and explain it to them like a professional. And if you come to Investor Schooling, we teach you the technique. We not only teach you the techniques, we teach you how to explain it to somebody else like a professional. The deals that I do, it blows people's minds. The deals that I do. I actually slowed down this year. I only bought 4 properties this year. Total out of pocket for all 4 properties was less than $10,000. And if you add the $13,000, it was actually positive $3,000. Or the $14,000. It was positive $4,000. So I bought 4 properties this year and gained $4,000 buying 4 properties. And they all cash flow. And they even have positive cash flow. I make some money on all of them.
So question, is there a website I can go lift up your skirt?
Yeah. I'm so glad you asked. Go to investorschooling.com, investorschooling.com, and you can sign up for a class. You can come Thursday, obviously not this Thursday, because this Thursday is Thanksgiving, but you could come next Thursday, and we will teach you.
That's a euphemism I've
Cool.
never
I'll
heard.
take a look-see.
What'd you say?
Thank you, man.
Wait, what'd you
I've
say?
never heard that euphemism.
Which one?
Look up your skirt for
Look up my skirt, yeah, right.
I mean, I get it, but I've just never heard that euphemism.
And there's
used that
actually
way.
a lot of cool stuff on there, Christian. You like it. All right, Christian.
Cool. Unfortunately, I didn't make that up, but thank you for your time, man.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
and listen, if I'm wearing a skirt, you don't have to come in.
No problem. I'll just pop the hood on your car. Never mind. It's another old one. I'm an old guy. All right, guys. Take care. I appreciate your time.
You got it, man. Hopefully we'll see you in class. Go to investorschooling.com and we'll see you in class. That guy's
I
hysterical.
can't imagine why that saying fell out of favor.
What, look up your skirt or open
Yeah, I
your
can't
hood?
imagine why that one. Pop the hood. Yeah, you could still do that.
Yeah, pop the yeah. Is that similar to? No, never mind. I don't even want to go there. I guess that's kind of. I guess when he says look at my skirt, I guess he's considering that I might be new, very 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 new age, like I'm a Vembe or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm confused. I'm so confused. Life is so confusing. All right.
That's why you're here, Larry, to sort it all out.
I got it. All right. So we're having a really good show today. I like it. All right. 855-939-1137. Your last chance to ask a question. 855-939-1137. One more time. 855-939-1137. Actually, it wasn't one more time because I'm going to do it 2 more times. How's that? 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. All right. So you heard how I buy properties with no money. Not only do I buy properties with no money, I make money when I buy properties. So I actually posted this on Facebook. And it's funny because I had probably 95% of the people on Facebook saying the same thing. Wow, congratulations. How cool is that? That's amazing. You know, stuff like that. But there was that 5% who were like, oh, you can't do that. That's a lie. Blah, blah, blah. How do you possibly do that? And, you know, I got to tell you something right now. If you're listening to this show and that's what you're thinking, nobody can do that. Only you can do that. I promise you that you will stay broke the rest of your life. That's how it works. If you don't believe that you can do this and make more money, you will stay broke. Stop thinking that people that are doing it are bad people. I mean, look, Elon Musk didn't become Elon Musk because he thought he couldn't do something. He did it. I still believe that Elon Musk is trying to build a rocket ship to go back home, but that's a different story. So if you want to learn how to do this, you go to investorschooling.com. You take a free class. How much is the class? It's free. How much is the class? It's free. How much is the class? It's free, because I get the same question all the time. How much is the class? And then I'll get the other question. I'm going to tell you what the next question is. And it's funny because every week we get the same question. All right, I'm at the free class. How much do I have to pay to stay? I'm like, and you have to come back to another free class. I'm like, what? You have to come back to another free class. Why do we have you come back to 2 free classes? Real simple. The reason we have you come back to 2 free classes is we want you to really like this and experience it and understand what we do. And neither one of those free classes is a sales pitch. We don't sell you anything. We'll take you aside and we'll talk to you about becoming a student. If that's something you want to do, you do. If you don't, it's okay. You learned something for free. I talked about this deal the other day in detail and how I did it in detail. And if you would have been there for free, you would have gotten the information in detail for free. All right, we got Tom. What's going on, Tom?
Hey, good afternoon. I got a question for you.
Sure.
I'm interested in, I'm pretty much going to do it, taking the mortgage for one of my children.
Okay.
And I just like to know what paperwork you think I should implement. I'm not really concerned, but like I want to make sure like there's not a second mortgage taken out after the fact.
Why?
In case something would happen to her, how, like a promissory note, how do I get the money back? There's something from the estate, just basics. I'm not really looking to turn the screws on her or anything if something negative would happen.
All right. So here's my question for you.
Go ahead.
It sounds like it's your daughter, correct? Right? It's your daughter?
Excuse me?
It's your daughter, right? You said?
Yeah.
Okay. So my first question, because I coach a lot of people and some people want to do this, and that's fine. My first question to you is this. If she loses her job and she has no intention of getting another one, and you know your daughter better than I do, forget the fact that you may not believe this scenario could ever happen. I'm asking you if this scenario happens. Do you feel comfortable foreclosing on her?
That's something we've already talked about. She knows that I can't go without this money.
Okay.
We've gone through some scenarios and what would it take. And she'd have to get another loan. Hopefully she would be able to get a loan.
Well, she won't be able to if she doesn't have a job. Remember that. And also if her credit score gets dinged,
and then ultimately, right.
All right. Just my so far what I know and what you've said so far, I don't highly recommend this in your case. However, let's talk about how to do it if you decide to do it. You need 2 pieces of paper. You need one as a promissory note and the other is a mortgage. You want to make sure that you are in first position for both of these unless, is this a down payment money you're lending her or are you lending her the money for the entire property?
It's already, it's for the remaining half of her mortgage.
So you're going to be in second position?
No, they were going to be paying off the first, and then she's going to pay me back
Okay,
So
okay,
I'm,
so okay,
I'm
so
basically
you're paying- okay, gotcha.
refinancing her mortgage.
I got you. Okay, so okay, good. Okay, so you're paying back her mortgage, and now you're going to be the mortgagee, and she's going to be making you payments, which is fine. Now you said something earlier. You said you want to make sure that she can't get a second. She can. That has nothing to do with you. If you're in first position and she gets a second, you get paid first no matter what. The house could be worth, I don't know, the house could be worth, let's say, $300,000, and you have a $250,000 mortgage on it, and the second mortgage company has $1 million mortgage on it. It makes no difference to you. You get your $250,000 before the other mortgage company gets anything if you're in first position. Actually, you're technically in second position because of tax liens. So the taxes actually are first position, but assuming she's paying the taxes, then you're in first position and you're going to get your money before anybody else gets their money. So I wouldn't worry about a second.
Okay.
That's
Is
up to
there
her.
is there a good place? I presume that these forms are state specific.
Oh, not quite. And yeah. So.
Oh, in Pennsylvania.
So there's two things you can do. I mean, obviously, you could come to us and we can give you samples of the forms, and they happen to be the exact forms that I use. That's one thing you can do. You can hire an attorney to write the forms if you want to, but I'd be really careful of what forms you use, because if you use the wrong forms, you're going to be in trouble in the future. You got it?
Why is that?
Because you won't be able to foreclose. You make a mistake.
Give me an example of something that would.
Basically, she could have a fight with you, and she could say, "Hey, I'm keeping my property. Good luck." And then you're gonna have to go through a serious foreclosure with your daughter, who now the two of you are gonna hate each other for the rest of your life. I've got, honestly, my apologies, but I've got about a minute, so I don't have that much more time.
I know it happens.
But I'll tell you what you should do, Tom. I'll give you two choices. Come see me, and if you want to, I'll even tell you what. Here, do this. Go to www.contactlarry.com. That's contactlarry.com. And by the way, anybody listening, go to contactlarry.com, and you can actually make an appointment with me, and I'll give you some more time, and we could talk in person, actually over the phone, or actually on Zoom. So you can talk to me. I'll tell you what to do. All right, Tom. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. You guys, we got just a couple more minutes, and I just want to say thank you for everybody for listening. You guys are so awesome. I really appreciate you guys listening every week, and every week the show gets better and better. But the best show, of course, was the one with my wife on it, because I got to look across the table and see her during the whole show. So that was the best part about that show. I think I got the brownie points back. What do you think, Glenn?
I think you're good.
All right, cool. All right. And, of course, I want to thank Glenn Page for being the amazing producer at WPHT, because if it wasn't for him, we would not be on the air. Of course, I want to also thank Mike Kuiper, who is our producer over here. He operates the cameras, and he makes sure that all the people on Facebook can see it. And, of course, I want to thank all you guys for watching the show, and I want to thank all you callers for calling in. You guys are also awesome. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to come see me, go to investorschooling.com. investorschooling.com. See you Thursday.
This program is paid.